I'm Luke Kerfuffle, and something is wrong here. Do you see it? The Deltarune, symbol of the prophecy, herald of the reckoning, isn't here. This is the Deltarune. The term is a portmanteau, combining the words delta and rune, delta being the fourth letter of the Greek alphabet, and rune often being defined in fantasy stories as a symbol or mark of magical significance. But this triangle right here isn't a delta. It's a Nabla, the inverted delta. In Undertale, Gerson tells us the triangles refer to monster kind, and the angel refers to some entity who will descend from the surface to clear them out of the underground. In Deltarune, the angel is a similarly apocalyptic being, harbinger of the roaring, but the triangles instead seem to refer to the heroes of the prophecy and the world in which they exist. 2 up, 1 down. 2 lighteners, 1 darkener. Chris, Susie, and Ralsei. So then what is this symbol? This is the Nabla Rune. Let's begin with the locations of the Nabla Rune. Until only recently, it appeared once in each game, above the door to Toriel's house in Deltarune and over the entrance to the last corridor in Undertale. Both of these are interesting because they are immediately preceded or followed by the Deltarune proper. In Deltarune, Chris's rug depicts the titular rune, and in the last corridor, it's correct on all the stained glass windows, making these discrepancies stand out all the more. Though initially it seemed insubstantial, as these were the only 2 places the Nabla Rune appeared, until the Undertale 10th anniversary live streams happened. In those streams, the crew unveiled 2 new areas, one in the ruins of Old Home and one in the unfinished architecture of New Home. Both contain some of the most significant moments of new content in the whole stream, with Old Home acting as the backdrop for Gerson's lore dump and New Home serving as the setting for the nuzzling contest. But both share almost identical layouts flipped, so in both, Frisk's entrance is heralded by a large rune on a parapet. In my last video, I didn't even notice something was off about it until Pillbug Potluck pointed out that these triangles are inverted. It's a Nabla Rune. Now there is one other possible Nabla Rune. In Deltarune, the roof of the church is pointing up at the angel, creating a triangle, but the wings of the angel are casting shadows on the bottom of the roof, creating 2 inverted triangles. This is the moment my descent into becoming the Green Pippins began in earnest. What initially amongst the community was believed to be an art error suddenly took on a weight and significance I could have never predicted. Why is it different? Why is it different in these specific places? 2 triangles down, 1 up. Everywhere else it's 2 up, 1 down, 2 up, 1 down, 2 up, 1 down. Why in these random places does it change? But that, my friends, is not all. In the Chapter 3 Dark World, during the second board, when Tenna steps out of the room, you can take the raft all the way to the top of the map to find an eerie, icy landscape, your path forward blocked by a tree. But you can revisit this board during the secret Shadow Mantle minigame, gain a high enough level to chop down the tree and see what lies beyond. There you find a door, with another rune variation. This one is unique, as it's the same as the Deltarune with 1 extra delta, an upright triangle pointing toward the angel. 3 up, 1 down. Unlocking the door with the ice key, we are met on the other side with the dungeon in which the white cloak is found, one of many clear analogs to Snowgrave. At the end of the dungeon, you see the symbol again on a door crowned by a red horn headband, opened by using up the white cloak. Looking closely at the symbol there, you can see that the triangle isn't the only change. The angel's wings are also different. Most often the angel's wings are rounded, almost bird-like. Here they're spiky, sharp, and jagged. The other significant example of unique wings on the angel is the Nabla Rune above Toriel's door, where the wings are connected to the circle and drawn as 2 smooth S shapes. Same with the one above the last corridor, though not the ones in Old and New Home. By the way, is it just me, or do these wings look like Eram's horns? No, what am I saying? I'm losing it. I gotta be. This can't mean anything. I mean, if this has any significance, it would drastically reshape our understanding of the world Deltarune exists in and our relationship with it. These triangles, they can't just be switched around. They mean something. The Delta refers to the Lightners, and the Nabla refers to the Darkners, the world above and the world below. The three on the Deltarune refer to our three heroes of light, Chris and Susie from the Light World, and Ralsei from the Dark World. The Shadowmantle rune makes sense because of its relation to Noelle and her foreshadowing of being somehow related to the angel, hence the new Delta pointing to the angel. It's Noelle. What doesn't make sense is the Nabla rune. Using the same logic as the Delta rune, it would imply that the heroes of light, the heroes outlined in the prophecy, would be one Lightner and two Darkners. Huh. The prophecy describes the heroes in a very interesting way. It goes as follows. The first hero, the cage with human soul and parts. The second hero, the girl with hope crossed on her heart. The third hero, the prince, alone in deepest dark. And last was the girl. At last was the girl. This fits Chris, Ralsei, and Susie and or Noelle quite well, but it doesn't fit only them. Sure, the images heavily allude to them, but I don't fully believe these images can be trusted, as we know dark worlds are shaped in the image of the Lightner who creates them. And while I believe these words are the prophecy, I think the images are being subconsciously conjured up by whoever created this dark world. These words apply to more characters than just the ones depicted. Specifically, the cage with human soul and parts referring to the vessel, and the prince alone in deepest dark referring to Lancer, who we see alone in the purple cliffs well before we see Ralsei. But what does that mean? What are we proving by unveiling the malleability of the prophecy's words? Well, I think that it is in that malleability that meaning can be granted to the Nabla Rune. See, the definition of rune doesn't just refer to a symbol of magical significance. It also refers to an alphabet. Like the Greek alphabet, the delta is found within. I believe that the Deltarune is one of many runes, a part of the same alphabet as the Nabla Rune and the Shadowmantle Rune, with every single variation depicting a combination of heroes who can make the prophecy come true. That Chris, Susie, and Ralsei are a combination of happenstance, that if they were to fail, another group could take their place, another combination of deltas and nablas over and over until the end of perceivable time, until the prophecy comes true.